How's everybody doing? Welcome back to another episode of the Banker Next Door. I am your host, Dr. Joe Berquist. So I've got something very special for everyone this week. As the summer is rolling along here, I figured I would do Book Week. I wanted to bring you guys a whole week's worth of book reviews, and I wanted to do stories, though, however, centered around financial individuals, individuals that have had very large impacts on the financial world in very different ways. So each day, I'm going to bring you a different book about a different individual, and the books that we're going to be covering throughout the week are Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, which is a fictional biography about Jesse Livermore, one of the greatest stock traders that ever lived. So we're going to be covering him today here in just a minute. But throughout the rest of the week, we're going to be covering Donald Trump and the art of the deal. We're going to be covering the greatest trade ever, John Paulson. We're going to be covering The Millionaire about John Law, which is a fascinating story. It's almost like a 1700s version of the Wolf of Wall Street, if you will. And then finally, we're going to end it with the pimp daddy of them all, John Jacob Astor, the guy who set the mold for everything that we know as the modern millionaire, the modern billionaire, the modern philanthropist, real estate mogul. John Jacob Astor did it all. They teach literally a whole class on the University of Pennsylvania about the life and career of John Jacob Astor. That's how incredible it was. But we'll get into all that in due time. So let's kick off our first book review of the day, though. So this is Reminiscence of a Stock Operator. This was written by Edwin Lefevre. And this is an all-time classic. You could see here that this is the print cover version of the Wiley Investment Classic series. If anybody has ever looked at some of the Wiley Investment Classics, great series of classic finance books. I highly recommend that you go pick some of them up if you have a chance. So let's look at this real quick. The quick breakdown here. So Edwin Lefevre was the author. This was originally written in 1923. It was originally published by George H. Doran and Company, but then has since been published by John Wiley and Sons, Inc. in the present day. Approximately 299 pages. And this is the fictionalized biography of Jesse Livermore, one of the greatest stock speculators that ever lived. Now, let's do a little bit of over here. So again, fictionalized biography of Jesse Livermore, narrated as Larry Livingston, chronicling his rise and fall as a stock speculator, blends storytelling with trading lessons, offering insights into market psychology and speculation in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Considered a classic in financial literature, widely read by traders and investors. So, and then just a quote here on the side from Mr. Livermore: "A man must know himself throughout if he is going to make a good job out of trading." Yes. So in other words, you've got to understand your beliefs, have a belief system, understand it, and then also controlling your emotions. Highly critical. This is what I love here. This picture here is an original picture of what they called the bucket shop on Wall Street, and they had some of these over in New Jersey, like North Jersey. Think of like Jersey City, Hoboken. They had them there, but then they primarily had them over in Manhattan as well. But so Livermore's early life. So basically, he was born in 1877. Livermore began trading at the ripe old age of 14. In bucket shops, betting on stock price movements. He was nicknamed the Boy Plunger for his bold bets. He amassed thousands by exploiting shop inefficiencies. So what that meant is he would basically go from shop to shop, and he would get an understanding of who the main operators of the shop were. He would also look at who the main players were. Like, in other words, if he'd kind of feel out what was going on, what day. Like, in other words, if there were some big fish over here who were kind of stealing all the action, he would say, okay, and he'd move to another shop. If he saw some guys that he thought were kind of like shysters who were always taking advantage of people or trying to take advantage of him, again, he might move and go down to another shop. If he saw a shop that had a lot of action, he was probably staying. If he saw a shop that was dead, he might move on to another one. So he looked and considered all these different factors. So it was very, very interesting. But he ended up moving to New York at 20 to trade on the Nisi, facing bigger challenges and learning from his earlier losses. Now, the trading strategies and philosophy. So it emphasizes market psychology. So the market is never wrong. Opinions are wrong. Key strategies: trade with the trend, cut losses quickly, and wait for clear opportunities. And all these things are as paramount today as they were, 100 years ago. Advocates studying price action and avoiding emotional decisions, lessons drawn from his successes and failures. And then one of Livermore's main rules is don't fight the tape. And there is a picture here of this is an original ticker tape. This was the primary technology of the day. All of the, highest, wealthiest, the wealthiest individuals, as well as a lot of the main players on Wall Street, they all had the ticker tapes in their office. So this was their version of, like, you turn on CNBC and Bloomberg and you look at the ticker tape at the bottom, or, you go on Yahoo Finance, whatever, and you just, check out, okay, what are stocks trading at? What's going on today in the market? Well, this was their version of that back in the day. This is what they had. They had the ticker tape. So they would look at the ticker tape and see and look at the price action and basically say, okay, GE's doing this company's doing that. What's going on? What's Standard Oil doing back in the day? What's RCA doing? They would look at all this kind of stuff. So, okay, so boom and bust. So Livermore, he made millions shorting stocks before the panic of 1907 and the stock market crash of 1929, earning $100 million in 1929, which would be the equivalent to $1.5 billion today. But unfortunately, he lost fortunes due to overconfidence and ignoring his own rules, going bankrupt multiple times. The book portrays his roller coaster life, blending financial genius with personal struggles. So what are some of the strengths of the book? Well, it has a captivating narrative. Lefevre's journalistic style makes complex trading accessible and thrilling. It includes timeless lessons. Insights on discipline and psychology resonate with traders even today. It has historical insights. It vividly captures the speculative frenzy of early Wall Street. It absolutely does. I mean, one of my favorite things about this book, when it says vividly, it means vividly, like to explicit detail. It really puts you in that, like 1890 to 1929, that about 40-year period of time. It really puts you in what it was like in the trading houses and being there on Wall Street and the whole vibe. Just like one of my favorite book, Liar's Poker. Liar's Poker by, again, Michael Lewis. Michael Lewis, famous of the was it The Blind Side and Moneyball and all that stuff. Well, one of Michael Lewis's first books was Liar's Poker, and it was basically like trading on Wall Street in the 1980s. And I'm amazed, and I'm actually amazed that they never made that book into a movie, because it is a great book, and it perfectly captures the essence of 1980s trading on Wall Street, just like Tom Wolfe's The Bonfire of the Vanities, just like he absolutely captured that period with the whole Masters of the Universe. Michael Lewis, he captures it as well in the 1980s. Well, Reminiscence of a Stock Operator, this book does that same thing, but it captures, like I said, that like 1890 to 1929 period, and it absolutely captures it. I mean, when you're reading the book, you literally can picture yourself in these places dealing with these people, and it's like I said, it's very, very, very good from that perspective. You can really get into it. Weaknesses of the book: the dated context, like some trading methods, i.e. bucket shops, are obsolete. Limited personal depth, focuses on Livermore's trading, not his personal life or motivations. I, for one, don't really care so much about that. I didn't really need to know all of it. Does talk about his personal life a little bit, but did I really need to know all of his personal? Like, no, I don't really care. Like, I am reading the book for exactly what the book delivers, and that is I want to I want to put myself in that time period. I want to understand what Wall Street was like then. I want to understand. I want to understand the technology of the day, the psychology of the markets, what was going on, and what was his methodologies. This book can be dense for novices. In other words, financial jargon and lack of technical explanations may alienate non-traders. Yeah, I could see that a little. I mean, I could definitely see that a little bit. So I wouldn't deny that. Themes and relevance. So it explores market psychology and human nature, which is relevant to modern trading and investing even today. It warns against greed and emotional trading, echoing recent market bubbles. Absolutely. And then Livermore's story reflects the allure and danger of speculation, a universal theme. Yes, and basically, timeless stories here. So, what's the conclusion and recommendation here? Well, this book is a gripping, insightful blend of biography and trading wisdom, unmatched in its field. It's ideal for traders, investors, or those curious about market history, less suited for casual readers or beginners. Wouldn't disagree with that. But you read this book for its timeless lessons alongside modern guides like Market for Wizards. If anybody, Market Wizards, great series of books there, written by Jack Schwager. And then obviously the last thing there basically says this is a revered classic praised by Warren Buffett and Jack Schwager. So when I was in when I was in college and I was doing some internships for a couple of different financial advisors, I asked them, I said, hey, what are some books that I should be reading or should think about reading? They recommended a couple books, but this was one of the first books they read. They said, you need to read Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, basically about the life of Jesse Livermore. You need to read this because you need to understand some of the timeless lessons that are in there, and more importantly, begin to understand about the psychology of trading and not trading on emotion and not making, decisions based on greed and just, kind of blind lust for money, if you will. And I did that, and I read the book, and it was just, I just became enthralled, right from the get go, just because it just puts you right into that timeline of very young Wall Street. And which is it's just a fascinating time. And then the roller coaster ride of the panic in 1907, and then, things come back, and then you get into kind of World War I. And then obviously things roll through the roaring 20s, and then you have the stock market crash in 1929. So it really takes you on this roller coaster ride, these amazing ups and downs of, him being on the top of the world and making tens of millions of dollars, being, one of the richest guys on Wall Street, and then, losing it all and just plunging back down. So it really is a fantastic book. So if you ever get a chance, I would check this book out. And like I said, so this is the first book review, the first installment for our book week here. I hope you enjoyed this one. Like I said, I got 4 more really good ones coming for everybody this week. I hope, again, this is just something fun I'm trying out here as we roll through the middle of the summer. But I'll wrap this one up by saying, if you like this episode, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe, as that always helps the channel. Remember, we are on YouTube, Rumble, and all major podcast platforms. Please be sure to leave your comments down below, as I always love getting back to everybody. And as always, please make sure to check out some of the other content on the channel. I hope everyone has a great day out there. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you again real soon. Thanks a lot.